Welcome back to Open Line, talking with Hedy Weinberg, the Executive Director of the American Civil Liberties Union. We asked you to come on a while ago, and then you couldn't come on, and then we couldn't get you back on, but we wanted you to come on and talk about a lawsuit that was involves religion in schools, and this was in Smith County. Is that right?
Right. Yes.
So talk about that. You're representing two parents, and just kind of talk about this lawsuit.
Okay. We're representing two families in Smith County whose children are both in middle school and high school, and this is, we usually have at least one of these lawsuits going because unfortunately we all believe that we have the right to practice our own religion, but unfortunately sometimes in the public schools especially, we see that there's an effort to proselytize and impose the majority religion on others. So our families have 4 children among the 2 families. The dad of one family served in Iraq. He's a veteran, served in Iraq and Afghanistan, really believes very much in the Constitution and religious freedom and what he fought for and, you know, risked his life for. The schools, unfortunately, seem not to understand that their role is to educate and create an environment that's welcoming for all students.
So what are they doing? How far is too far? Is it a silent prayer, or is it more than that? So, you know, again,
it's much more than that, because we don't go to court just to go to court. And what we've seen is that it is every Monday there is a family meeting in the assembly where all the students and teachers come. And you don't have to stay, but if you don't stay, obviously you're bringing attention to yourself. And they recite. They have prayers, they, you know, speak about, it's very sectarian, they speak about Jesus. Again, anyone who believes in Jesus should also sometimes think about what they said in Matthew behind closed doors. But that aside, there is strong sectarian practices at these family meetings. There are Bibles that sort of pepper the hallways or sit on teachers' desks. There is prayer led by perhaps students, but that the coaches engage in prior to or after games. There, one of the things we point out is that students who play in the band, and one of our plaintiffs plays in the band, is required to go to athletic events, right? Because playing in the band, she then hears the sectarian prayer that's offered.
This is in Smith County.
But it's happening all over.
Well, that was my question. How common is it? I mean, I feel like that happens maybe a lot in Tennessee. Do you see that a lot in Tennessee?
Yeah. In Wilson County a while back, we represented 4 families with, I think, I can't remember exactly how many children and in how many schools, but it was rampant across the system. We've been in East, Middle, and West Tennessee challenging these practices. And again, and I have to underscore this, it's not about being anti-Christian, it's not about being anti-religious, it's about ensuring that your right to practice your religion belongs to you, and that government can't tell you this is how you pray, this is when you pray. We live in a very diverse community, society. It's a quilt of many perhaps different values, but many different religious communities. And rather than shutting people down and saying the minority doesn't have a voice, we look to the Constitution, we look to the Establishment Clause and the right to religious freedom. And the Establishment Clause makes it very clear that government, and then through the 14th Amendment, states cannot promote, endorse religious activities.
So I've heard about this lawsuit. There's some other lawsuits. Again, the same. We have a minute left here, but let's fast forward to after it's resolved. Do these practices stop? I mean, what happens in Smith County 5 years from now when this is resolved one way or another? Take some other example, but what happens 5 years later?
So Ben, that's the most important question, because litigation in and of itself is not going to change practices. If it does change a practice for a while, there's still sometimes a lot of hostility and anger. The goal, the long-term goal, the vision we have right? Change hearts, change minds. Recognize that this is a big enough land, big enough space. We can all live. We can all live together. We might not agree. We might not even like each other. But we all have the right to our religious freedom. We all have the right to be treated with dignity and respect in our lives, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, national origin.
Well, that sounds very good. Let's hope that works. All right, we'll take a break. I'll be back right after this.